This is a judge that should be disbarred. This is a judge that should be out of office. This is a judge that some people say could be charged criminally for what he's doing. He's interfering with an election, and it's a disgrace. Thank you very much.
Mr. Trump, why do you want to be here?
That was Donald Trump attacking the judge, Arthur Engoron, who is presiding over the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case that has now completed its first week of trial. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. After huffing and puffing and saying he was going to blow Judge Arthur Engoron's house down like the big bad wolf, Donald Trump was exposed as the wannabe dictator with no clothes, and Donald Trump ultimately dismissed this frivolous lawsuit that he filed against the judge. Donald Trump brought a special proceeding that we covered last week against Judge Engoron, which was rejected by the Appellate Department First Division, and Donald Trump just petulantly whining and crying and complaining, but when push comes to shove, dismissing the lawsuit. Here it is. Right here in this lawsuit that he filed against Engoron, he writes the following. Whereas petitioner Donald Trump and all of the others, by and through their undersigned counsel, filed what's called a joint Article 78 petition on September 13th, 2023, whereas respondent, the Honorable Judge Arthur F. Engoron, elected not to appear in the above captioned proceeding pursuant to CPLR Section 7804I. By the way, how hilarious is that Engoron was sued by Donald Trump? Engoron doesn't even show up. Engoron's like, this is so frivolous. I'm electing... Okay, appellate department, you just make the call right here about whether this should go forward or not. So Donald Trump lost where the person he's suing, the judge, was just like, I don't even need to show up. This is this is so frivolous. Goes on to say, it is hereby stipulated and agreed by and between petitioners and respondent people of the state of New York, Letitia James, Attorney General, that the above captioned Article 78 proceeding is discontinued with prejudice pursuant to 22 New York CRR Section 1250 2B2. It is further stipulated that this stipulation may be executed in counterparts, which together constitute one and the same stipulation. Copies of the signatures transmitted electronically shall suffice to render the stipulation effective and binding upon the parties. It's so interesting that that language had to be included there. And yeah, it's boilerplate that sometimes you see on kind of long form contracts, but not usually on stipulations like this. But it's just because I think Donald Trump is so shady in everything he does that you need to include language like that so his lawyers aren't like, oh, my signature was not on there and we didn't execute it in counterpart, so therefore it's not valid. So they have to like have boilerplate contractual language like that to further bind them and make sure they don't pull that. So Donald Trump, who attacked Judge Engoron like you saw at the beginning. I'll show you another one. So where Donald Trump goes, the judge is a Democratic operative. Here, play this clip.
The violent crime that's being committed in our city and our state is disgraceful, and we're going to be here for months with a judge that already made up his mind. It's ridiculous. He's a Democrat judge, he's an operative, and it's ridiculous. Other than that, things went very well.
What are you going to have for lunch?
Will you come back after lunch, Mr. Trump?
Probably.
It's fall, which means you should be picking apples, not wedgies. Get yourself new underwear that'll take care of your whole fruit basket. That's Tommy John. When you wear Tommy John, you're that much more comfortable, so you can do everything better. Tommy John underwear and loungewear have dozens of comfort innovations, like breathable, lightweight, moisture-wicking fabric with 4 times the stretch of competing brands that keep you comfortable no matter what the season throws at you. With over 20 million million pairs sold, 20 million, and thousands of 5-star reviews, guys across America love their Tommy Johns because there's no sticking or chafing. That's why Tommy John doesn't have customers, they have fanatics. One Tommy John fanatic raves, the most comfortable boxer briefs ever. There's no downside. Buy one pair, you'll never want to wear any other underwear again. Now, I love my Tommy Johns. They made me look and feel great. I am urging you, if you haven't tried Tommy Johns yet, go get yourself a pair immediately. Plus, you're always covered with Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee. Get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/Meidas. Save 20% at TommyJohn.com/Meidas. That's TommyJohn.com/Meidas. See site for details.
So that's what Donald Trump does in front of the cameras, but this is what he does when push comes to shove. He dismisses the case because they're utterly frivolous, and he brings them as a vexatious litigant for the purpose of getting headlines. That's why he was sanctioned close to $1 million in the Southern District of Florida by Judge Donald Middlebrooks a few months back. Judge Middlebrooks was like, no, you bring these for headlines, not because they're valid cases. And he said, I'm going to sanction you $1 million for all of the frivolous cases you filed. In that case, Trump filed like a frivolous RICO in the Southern District of Florida. And that federal judge was like, okay, you're being sanctioned. But here's the thing, and there's a pattern here, and I want to show you that pattern. When you confront Donald Trump with the facts, when you confront Donald Trump with, you don't allow him to wear you down with all of the crap that he does. That's all he's got, is kind of wear you down with his overwhelming negative energy, right? But if you don't allow him that, he backs down. He is a coward. Look, the same week he dismissed this lawsuit against the judge Engoron to try to delay the proceedings or whatever the hell he was trying to even do here. You know, as I said, it's the most frivolous thing in the world. You remember, though, where they were celebrating it? They spiked the football. They were like, this is a big win. And I'm like, what are you saying is a win? That the appellate department temporarily gave you a few days before they rejected you? Right? Like, they have the Trumps, they spread all this disinformation about procedure, hoping that people don't get what's really going on here. And then they hope that when they withdraw the case, that doesn't get reported on, right? Same thing he did with Michael Cohen. He sued Michael Cohen back in April for $500 million. And then when push came to shove and Cohen set Donald Trump's deposition, Donald Trump refused to show up. And as the deposition date approached, same thing, same week, the same week that Donald Trump dismissed his lawsuit against Judge Engoron, who you saw him attacking, he dismissed the lawsuit against Michael Cohen. And then Trump's like, well, I dismissed the lawsuit against Cohen because he scheduled my deposition on Columbus Day, and I'm going to be in New Hampshire then, so I can't be here for this witch hunt. It's a case that you filed. The deposition date is the date that you agreed to. That's why it was October 9th. You tried to get the date moved to all of the other dates. So finally, October 9th was picked because your lawyers argued it would be embarrassing and harm your reputation if you were previously deposed. Then you had another lawyer show up and say that they were going to help you invoke the Fifth Amendment, and their daughter-in-law was getting married. So then it had to be delayed until October 3rd. And then October 3rd came. And then you told the judge in the federal case there, well, you were going to attend all 5 days of the New York Attorney General civil fraud case. You said you were an indispensable party. You had to be there to help your lawyers. You lasted 2.5 days before you fled to your safe space back at Mar-a-Lago, where I guess you share our classified information with your club members there. Horrific stuff there. But then October 9th was finally selected by your lawyers, and then you dismissed the case. You then backed down. And by the way, Donald Trump sued New York Attorney General Letitia James in Florida, Southern District of Florida. First, he filed like in a state court, but then it went to the Southern District of Florida. And then when you were confronted with potential sanctions, you dismissed it. He's a coward So you have to ask yourself. I mean, look, I'll leave you with this thought. And that's why these three examples, I think, are important. Stipulation withdrawing the proceeding there. Michael Cohen, he dismissed that case. New York Attorney General Letitia James, same thing. I can show you countless other examples. But like, if you're on the, I'm surprised if you're on the fence by now about, what you think about these legal proceedings against Donald Trump. But if you are on the fence about it, think about it. If he's so smart, if he knows everything here, why do that? Why do that? Why not, if you bring a case, right? If you're a tough guy, if you're so smart and you've got the great legal case, why wouldn't you want to push your case forward? Why wouldn't you want to get the depositions going? Why wouldn't you be so aggressive in trying to get this thing going if that was what you thought, if you thought you had a strong case? Because he doesn't. That's why. And he just wants the cheap headline to manipulate people with the disinformation and right-wing echo chambers that have been created in the legacy media that's too lazy to report on what's really going on. That's why it's important that we here in the MeidasTouch community together, we report on what's really going on. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch as well. Thank you so much.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.